Want to play guitar but don't know where to start? These two simple chords are all you need to begin, and they unlock way more than you would expect. Stick around, and by the end, you'll be able to play your first song. Let's dive in. Real quick, if you don't already know who I am, my name's Wade Collins, and I run Guitar Fastlane, a worldwide online guitar school. I've been playing, performing, teaching, and writing songs for over 20 years. I've played on many stages, in bands, and solo, and even recorded and mixed albums. But enough about me, let's get to the lesson. So the first two chords I'm going to show you are the E minor chord and the A sus2 chord. And you might be wondering, why do you want to show me these two chords? Well, there's a couple reasons. First reason is you only have to move two fingers, and it's your first finger and your second finger, which are your strongest fingers, and most people are used to using these, so they're a little easier to get started with. The other reason I want to use these two chords for your first two chords is that you can use these two fingers to move them together. These two chords are very similar, and once you have these two fingers in place, you can actually kind of hold them together and move them from one chord to the next, which makes them a lot easier to change back and forth. So first, let's get started with the E minor chord. To play the E minor chord, the low E string will be played open, and then we'll play the second fret of the A string with your first finger, and then the second fret of the D string with your second finger, and then the G string, B string, and the E string will be played open. So if we play one string at a time, it will go like this. One common mistake with this chord is to lean this middle finger or your second finger onto the G string, and if you're doing that, it'll probably sound like this. So if you get that sound, what you want to do is try to make sure to move your thumb down behind the middle, the back of the neck. That'll help create a bit of an arch in your fingers, because the only reason you'll get that sound is that this middle finger is leaning against that string. So you need to get a good arch and really get up on your fingertips. And another trick that can really help with that too is to try pushing your forearm forward. So when I drive my forearm forward, this direction toward the camera, what happens is my wrist comes around and I get more on my fingertips. And by doing that, I have a good arch in my fingers, and all of the strings ring out nice and clear, just like that. So that's our E minor chord. The A sus2 chord is very similar, except with this one, we will not play the low E string. Instead, we're going to start with the open A string, so no fingers at all. Then we'll play the second fret of the D string with the first finger, second fret of the G string with your second finger, and then the open B string and the high E string. So one string at a time, it'll sound like this. Pretty neat sounding chord. So again, a common issue with this is kind of similar to the E minor chord. If you're leaning your middle finger here, you'll probably muffle the B string, so it would sound like this. So again, same tips to help with that is to try and keep your thumb down in the middle of the back of the neck and really try and get on your fingertips. And a good way to do that is to try and think about driving your forearm forward, and then it'll sound nice and clear like this. So when you're first learning these chords, make sure to take your time, get set up, have a good arch in your fingers, and play one string at a time to make sure each note's ringing out clearly. Once it sounds good, you can strum it all at once. And then same thing with A sus2, get into position, one string at a time. Cool thing, like I mentioned earlier about these two chords, is they're very similar. So they both use the same two fingers, and you can move them together. So if I'm changing back and forth between these two chords, I'll actually hold these two fingers together. So if you look closely, you'll see that there's no gap between these two fingers. So when I change from E minor to A sus2, I pick these two fingers up, and they both move together, and I bring them down one string. And then the only difference there is that I don't play the low E string when I play the second chord. So E minor is all 6 strings. A sus2 is from the A string to the high E string, only 5 strings. So practice going back and forth. And a really good way to practice this is with a metronome. So you can set your metronome up and have it counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and try changing between each chord every time it gets back to one count. I'll show you an example right here. So this metronome is going at a speed of 50 beats per minute, and the one count always sounds a little bit different. 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, 2, 3, 4. And once that feels easy and comfortable, you're getting those changes back and forth, and you're getting all the notes to ring out, then you can try increasing the metronome speed slowly. Try bumping it up to 55, then 60, and so on. And another thing you can do, once it gets really easy, is you can try changing on the 1 and 3 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's enough for the metronome for now. So once you're comfortable with these two chords, now we can start thinking about adding some strumming. So the first and easiest thing to do would be to do down strums. So again, you could practice this with a metronome, or you can just practice it on your own. And we're gonna go down, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, 2, 3, 4. Just think, okay, we're moving both these fingers together. Just like that, back and forth. Again, always a good idea to practice with a metronome. If you're strumming that one, you're going to strum on every single count. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, if you're enjoying this lesson, do me a quick favor, hit that like button. It helps me know what to create for you next. Thanks so much, and let's get back into it. Next step would be doing down-up strumming. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, up, down, up, E minor, up, down, up, A sus2, up, down, up. And now that you know how to do that, you can actually play along to a song called A Horse with No Name by America. It's a great beginner song, uses just these two chords, and the strumming pattern is actually a little bit different in the song, so this would be a little bit simpler. So you could play along just doing the down strums like I showed you before, so you could play 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, E minor, 2, 3, 4, A sus2, 2, 3, 4. If that's easy, you can do down up, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then if you're a little more advanced, you want to try a more advanced strumming pattern, I'll include this with you so that you can see the strumming pattern. So this is how I would actually play it with this song. And congratulations, you just learned your first song. Just takes those two chords. Like I said, practice, take your time with this, and use the metronome also, because that'll really help you. And the metronome's really good for seeing progress too. So you can start at a really slow speed, keep track of what speed that is, and then just try and keep increasing it by 1 or 2 beats per minute every day. And that'll really help you see progress, because sometimes it can be tough to see progress on guitar. So if you practice with the metronome, keep increasing it a little bit each day, you're gonna get there. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. And like I said, any one of these ways to play it is correct. You can do the down strums, do down up, or if you want the more advanced version, I've included the strumming pattern there too, so you can walk through that. You've made it this far, so I know you're serious about improving your guitar skills. Why not keep the momentum going? Hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss our future lessons, and then click on your next lesson right here. I think you'll love it. I'll see you over there.